All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our BCBA exam practice questions series, where we're going through the next set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials, including our practice exams and combo packs. Practice exams are now available in digital format as well. As always, let us know when you pass so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. Which of the following scenarios least represents philosophical doubt? A couple things here. First, the primary objective of this question is identifying the scenario that is not related to philosophical doubt. Now, the secondary thing we have to be concerned with is the word least. It's very easy to skip over not and least or doesn't when you're reading questions. That's why we want to read very carefully. We're not reading slowly, we're reading carefully. So we're understanding the question fully. So the scenario that least represents philosophical doubt, meaning 3 of these will likely represent philosophical doubt to a reasonable degree, while 1 will not. So then let's decide or identify what is philosophical doubt. Philosophical doubt says we question established ideas, we question results, we keep questioning everything. It's why repeatability is so important in our field. We want to make sure whatever anybody found or what research found or someone says can be replicated over and over again. You want to know that for sure. So let's look at A. Sam attends a workshop where she learns a new way to teach communication. She attempts it herself several times before she starts using it with her clients. So this is pretty good, right? Now, when we're dealing with our dimensions and our assumptions, a lot of them have a lot of similarities. Don't argue with the question. Just pick what the question is looking for. Sam, she learned this new way from a workshop, but before she implemented it, she decided, well, I'm going to do it myself several times, saying, I want to make sure this works. So A is pretty good. B, Rich reads a research article on the benefits of lavender for children with behavior problems. He starts adding lavender to all of his behavior plans right away. Is that philosophical doubt? Well, no. Rich read a single article and then immediately just started using it in all his behavior plans. He didn't try to find another article. He didn't use it on one plan and see how it worked. He just immediately implemented it. That's not very good philosophical doubt. What about C? Daniel sees a billboard that says best biscuits and gravy for 200 miles. Daniel says, let's find out, and pulls into the restaurant. So Daniel, instead of just believing the billboard that says they have the best biscuits and gravy, he says, let me see for sure. And he pulls into the restaurant to find out. Now, is that directly applicable to a clinical scenario? Of course not. But the exam isn't just testing you on clinical technical scenarios. You've got to be able to apply this widely. And then D, Emily is told that teenagers prefer hamburgers to pizza and that she should order hamburgers for the party. Emily then conducts a small poll at a high school to learn more. So Emily is told something, and rather than just outright believe it without further investigation, she starts conducting her own research. So the only one where we did not conduct further research or where we didn't question what was told or was understood is B. Rich read a research article on the benefits of lavender for children with behavior problems, and he just implemented it right away. He didn't doubt it. He didn't look for more research. He didn't do his own research. He just implemented it right away. This is the scenario that least represents philosophical doubt. Alexa knows that there are 2 different ways to get into her house if she gets locked out. She knows that she can either use the spare key hidden under the rock to open the front door, or she can jiggle the knob on the back door a few times and it will swing open. What type of schedule is shown here? So we've got a reinforcement schedule question. You have to know your basic schedules, of course, right? So you have to know your fixed ratios, variable ratios, fixed intervals, variable intervals. But then you've got to know your compound schedules. And a compound schedule is just simply 2 or more basic schedules combined. And so this one is probably the easiest compound schedule because it's based on choice. Why is it based on choice? Well, Alexa knows she can receive reinforcement 2 ways. If she gets locked out, there are two ways to get reinforcement. She can use the spare key hidden under the rock to open the front door, or she can jiggle the knob on the back door a few times and it will swing open. So she has two different behaviors. The schedules are operating concurrently. Alexa can choose what schedule she wants. This is like matching law, the easiest one. Now, let's look at A and B, multiple and mixed. So multiple and mixed are tied together. One has an SD, one doesn't. And in a multiple and a mixed schedule, we have two schedules that occur in a random fashion and they occur for a single behavior. Now, that's not what's happening here. We have a choice. We have two different behaviors on two different schedules. Alexa can choose between either. A tandem schedule is related to a chain schedule where each schedule leads to the next schedule. Now, what happens here? The spare key doesn't lead to jiggling the knob, and jiggling the knob doesn't lead to the spare key. They're completely separate. So what this schedule is a concurrent schedule. They're running concurrently together. Alexa has a choice. It's similar to matching law. The schedule most shown here is concurrent. So remember, we have our multiple and mixed schedules. We have our tandem and chain schedules. We have our alternative and conjunctive schedules. And then we have our concurrent schedule. Don't be intimidated by the compound schedules. I recommend spending a maybe half a study session, maybe a full study session, maybe more, just until you get compound schedules really locked in. Because these should be layup questions. These should be very easy questions, but they're not intuitive at first. Put the time in so these become easy points. Antoine just arrived at his dorm room on the first day of freshman year in college. The college ambassador shows Antoine how to order food from the campus delivery app. Antoine starts ordering food from that app, as well as DoorDash and Uber Eats. What is demonstrated by Antoine's behavior? So we're looking at Antoine's behavior. What is Antoine doing? Well, he learned how to order food on the app, and now he's ordering food from DoorDash, Uber Eats, and the app. So he's generalizing this behavior in some way. Now, when deciding between response generalization and stimulus generalization, we want to ask ourselves, how many responses are we looking at? Because with response generalization, we're going to have more than one response. The responses are going to differ. With stimulus generalization, we're looking at a single response across different stimuli. So what is the response here? Well, the response is ordering food. Antoine can order food in the presence of the delivery app. He can order food in the presence of DoorDash and Uber Eats. He's not changing his response. The stimuli are changing. He's able to engage in the same response across all these stimuli. He is engaging, or Antoine's behavior is demonstrating a stimulus generalization. Why is it not overgeneralization? Well, overgeneralization is when a response occurs at the wrong time. It occurs too often. It occurs at inappropriate times. He's not overgeneralizing. The responses are appropriate. He's just able to do them across different stimuli in the presence of a different stimuli. And it's not stimulus equivalence. Stimulus equivalence, of course, has to do with reflexivity and symmetry and transitivity. It's not what we're talking about here. We're looking at Antoine's behavior, how it's generalizing in the presence of these different stimuli. Danica starts taking data on a client's request for a snack. Dana records 5 sessions of what she believes is good data. Next session, supervising behavior analyst takes data alongside Danica, as Danica takes data as well on the client's snack requesting. What is occurring as the behavior analyst is taking data? So we are looking more specifically at the behavior analyst. So we know Danica is taking data on requesting for snack. Danica gets 5 sessions of what she believes is good data. The next session, the supervising analyst, who we're looking at, is taking data alongside Danica as Danica takes data as well on the same thing. So now they're both taking data on the client's snack requesting. Why would they do that? Well, Danica believes she has good data, and she very well might, but as the behavior analyst, as a supervisor, it's your job to be sure. And we can be sure that the data are good or data are accurate, valid, and reliable with Interobserver recording. That's when we record the same thing as the technician at the same time. So what is occurring here? A, treatment drift. Well, no, not necessarily. As far as we know, everything is going well. The supervising behavior analyst is there to confirm everything is going well, including the data. What about a fidelity check? Well, a fidelity check would be looking at the implementation of the intervention. We're not looking at the implementation here. The behavior analyst is taking data with Danica as Danica takes data as well. They're not too worried so much about the implementation here. They're worried about the measurement. And so what's occurring is this idea of inter-observer agreement recording. When two or more people collect data on the same thing and then compare that data, they're looking for inter-observer agreement. Inter-observer agreement is very important. It's also a great way to verify that the data are in fact accurate, valid, and reliable. So what is occurring as the behavior analyst is taking data? Well, inter-observer agreement recording. A dad has waited 10 years for the opportunity to teach his son how to drive the family boat, develops a reversal design to better understand his intervention. After initial baseline and then several teaching trials, the dad reverses back to baseline, but the data representing the son's ability to drive a boat do not trend downward. Based on this information, what may have happened? All right, kind of worded confusingly, right? So we have a dad, he's waited 10 years to teach his son how to drive the family boat. He develops a reversal design to understand his intervention. So assumingly, he wants to better understand, is my teaching effective at teaching him to drive the boat? So he takes baseline, and then he teaches, and then goes back to baseline. So we've got this ABA design. However, the data show that, or the data don't show any decrease in the son's ability to drive a boat. Now, why is that? Well, think about skills we normally teach, academic skills, reading, math. Once you learn those things, you don't necessarily unlearn them, at least not quickly. Like you might forget how to add if you don't do it forever, but for the most part, once you learn how to add and do certain skills, they don't go away. That's one issue with reversal designs. Sometimes it's not possible to reverse. So based on this information, what could have happened? A, the dad did a poor job teaching the son to drive the boat. Well, I don't think so. The son learned how to drive the boat, and he did it so well that it actually maintained. I don't think A is accurate. B, the sequence effect is affecting the data. Sequence effect is the order of the conditions or the phases, and we only have an ABA, and that's your typical reversal. So the sequence effect doesn't necessarily apply here. What about C? Irreversibility is playing a role in what the data look like. Absolutely. Irreversibility is the idea that we've taught something and now it can't be unlearned. We can't go back to before. The son now knows how to drive the boat. He can start the motor. He can steer. He knows he knows about wake zones. He knows how to drive the boat. He's not just going to forget it just because you stop the intervention that day. And then D, the dad ran the experiment incorrectly. Not necessarily. He reversed it. He did everything fine. We're just having to deal with irreversibility. And this is one of those concerns you want to address if you're going to use a reversal design before the design begins. What happens if I teach something and we can't reverse it? When we talk about contiguity of consequences, what are we referring to? We were referring to what specifically? So contiguity of consequences. What do we mean by contiguity of consequences? A, the temporal relationship between the response and the consequence. What does that mean? Well, that means the space and time, right? Or the location and time. And when we mean contiguity of consequences, we're talking about closeness. We want consequences delivered as close to the response as possible. So we are talking about the temporal relationship between the response and the consequence. Always read your answer choices, all of them. B, the repeatability of the response and consequence. May be important, not what we mean by contiguity. C, the awareness of the learner that a consequence is taking place. That has to do with automaticity, not contiguity. This is where fluency is becoming very helpful. And then D, the reduction in responding to a stimulus. That would be habituation. So C and D, if you're fluent, you should eliminate immediately. And then if you're very fluent, you should know contiguity, and you know that has to do with closeness, and it has to do with the temporal relationship between the response and the consequence. Thank you for watching. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials, including our practice exams and combo pack. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. As always, work hard, study hard, spread the word, and we'll see you soon.